It doesn't stop when you reach a certain age. We're all of us learning, even now. You see something in a person's face and see all they struggle to learn. It could be we are here solely to remind each other what must not be missed or ignored, but celebrated. When do we stop learning? Maybe never.
In Chinese medicine, that the body has to move.
With me now is performance artist Copernicus. You may have seen him in Washington Square Park over the summer where he played King Lear, and he brought Shakespeare back to life in that sense. He has caught the attention of critics and audiences worldwide. And to tell us about his latest venture is Copernicus himself, currently performing in Nothing Exists, and director of Nothing Exists, Christopher Sanderson. Christopher, welcome back.
Thank
and
you.
Copernicus, nice to meet you.
Hello.
I was very interested in all the articles that I read about you and this whole philosophy that you have. But before we get too deep into that, Christopher, explain to me the show, Nothing Exists. What will we see?
You come to see Nothing Exists, you will see performance art, philosophy, poetry, short pieces, 2 to 4 minutes long, very intense, each one very different, and each one interspersed with film clips, black and white or color. We have 2 big screens there that give the scenes, give each piece a sort of a frame of reference. It's where Copernicus is relaxing and explaining what the pieces are all about. He's got 15 years of material to call on. So we fit the pieces all together very carefully, and the film really bridges how that all fits together. Really
Is there music?
There is music, especially behind the pieces that he does, because those 15 albums all have music, sometimes up to 28 musicians. And so there's always a music track going on behind what he's doing, except for one of the pieces, which is more quiet and poetic, which he does without music.
Now, I'm assuming that the name Copernicus, you're drawing on the astronomer who people thought was crazy because he had this idea that the Earth was orbiting the sun and not the other way around. What's the parallel? What made you decide to pick up on this name?
Well, for the very same reason. When the first Copernicus told the world the Earth was not the center of the solar system, they thought he was crazy because for 2,000 years, all the intellectuals of the Western world believed that the Earth was the center. And so what he was saying was something very revolutionary, and they laughed at him, and they actually killed Giovanni Bruno a few years after Copernicus' death in Rome. They burned him to death for saying that. And Galileo went to jail for saying that. I have something as revolutionary to say as the first Copernicus, which is that I believe that we do not exist.
We do not exist.
Yeah,
so we're not
the
interviewing
concept
right
of
now.
existence, if you define existence meaning something that stays the same from one moment to the next. You're Laura Savini, and are you Laura Savini now?
Maybe not the same one I was a moment ago.
No, is it the same Laura Savini?
Right, but are you saying like molecules are changing?
I'm saying Laura
atoms are
Savini
changing?
does not exist, and never
Well, then,
existed. Okay,
who am
so
I
that's
right
what
now?
I'm saying. You're not there.
And this is the philosophy that you're
The
bringing
core
out
of,
in,
I have
in the
5
show.
albums. Chris very nicely said 15, but it's only 5. And based with 28 musicians on it, I put these ideas into poetry and music with 15, with up to 28 musicians.
Well, do
And
the
since
CDs
1990
exist?
Sure, nothing exists. Nothing exists. If you define reality with your human senses,
You're getting a kick
everybody-
out of this.
I love it. See, the thing is, the philosophy is problematic. The philosophy is, in a sense, harsh. But that's the beauty of the performance
No.
piece, which is that if you grasp it, it takes a lot of discipline to grasp these ideas that he's talking about. The great thing about the performance art pieces is that they bring humor, they bring humanity to these ideas, and they really unpack these ideas in a way that's very entertaining. We present it as an entertainment. And I even note in my director's note that you need to keep a sense of humor. In case you haven't noticed, he's got one.
How is the audience reacting to the show? I want to hear from both of you because I'm sure you have different points of view.
well, I think they're really impressed because he has done something. He is sort of. I've been a wild bronco, okay, and he has sort of corralled the bronco and helped me to, bring out these heavy ideas and emphasize each word in a way that the people will understand in a very simple way. He's simplified things and he's emphasized the text. And before I'd have, sometimes 10 musicians on stage with guitars and drums and nobody, the focus was not on the material. And he says, this is what we want to do this time. We want the people to focus on the material And everything in my performance, he's directed me in everything I do on that stage is supporting the text.
How were you able to get this tremendous focus that you needed? Was this hard for you to work with somebody directing you when you've really been your own person?
Well, he was lucky because we had a director by the name of, I had a director by the name of Tanya Kane Parry, where I decided I can't direct myself anymore. I took myself as far as I can go. And she dealt with a lot of the real problems that I had on stage. I used to be humped over and mumbling words. And so she dealt with a lot of the real basic things, problems I had. And so but he took me to another level. So yeah, directors are important when you come to a point where you need them. And that's where I came to. If I was going to do my show solo, I needed people of the quality of Christopher. And so he directed King Lear. He had seen me in 1991 doing my solo show. So he said, yeah, I'd like him for King Lear. So he picked me for Lear. And then when I was doing my show, I figured after Lear, I'll do my show. And so we decided that he would direct me in my own show.
What was the most challenging
It was wonderful.
part?
Actually, I've been dealing with him for 1 year, so it's
been a
good
good
relationship.
I've asked him to marry me, and he said no.
taken.
Taken.
What's the most challenging part of working with Copernicus?
Well, the initial challenge for the Copernicus Nothing Exists show was these things he's talking about in terms of quality, where does he want to go with it? I realized very quickly that what needed to happen here was what I call frame. The work needed to be framed, it's 1996. People are intelligent, audiences are intelligent, very sharp, they're used to humor that's very sophisticated, and material that's very sophisticated. We needed some way to place this in context, and for me, that context was immediately theater, that this is a theatrical piece. And in the theater, that brings a lot of assumptions with it, and one of the main ones is that you serve the text. The playwright in the theater is paramount. You don't go, changing words, you don't go rewriting once you've got a text to do, you just honor that text. Like Shakespeare, I decided that what we need to do is treat Copernicus's words as we treated Shakespeare's words, which is to say they're written in stone, they're beautiful, and we need to really point everything in that house towards those words. So everything from a real theatrical light hang to these films, which see him in a more relaxed context than in the performance pieces, explaining what they're about, which is very postmodern. It creates a frame, all the way down to the very acting itself, where an idea of release, relaxation, and really concentrating on the text in a very emotional way, making sure that there was a vivid emotional life that had an arc, that had a beginning, middle, and end over the whole show, which is a very theatrical idea, was what I immediately realized needed to be done, and that was the hardest thing, was wrestling these pieces into that arc. Ultimately, they really fell well, I think.
Oh, we are out of time, unfortunately, and there's so much more we could talk about with this, but I think it is certainly a show that somebody has to experience, and it sounds like it would be an experience. I want to thank both of you for being here.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much.
For more information about Nothing Exists, call 212-307-4100 or contact Copernicus on the website listed on your screen. And now our Metro Guide Pick of the Week will sure put you in the mood for the upcoming holiday season. In celebration of the 3,000th anniversary of the founding of Jerusalem, Temple Bethel and the Long Island Masterworks will be performing some of the most beautiful works of Handel. This performance will take place on December 7th at 8 and December 8th at 7:30 in Huntington and Great Neck, respectively. For more information, please call 516-421-5835 or 516-487-0900. Well, that's all for Metro Guide this week.